Yes, the title of this video is rather sensationalist and clickbait, I get that, but there's an underlying truth behind it. People are getting frustrated, the complaints on Reddit and the official forums are becoming very rampant. People are getting very bored of playing this game despite it being arguably the single most successful subscription-based MMORPG which has come out of the theme park genre in the past 5 years. Some of you may hate or resent what I have to say and some of you may fully agree with me. Either way, what I'm about to say is what I've personally experienced and witnessed myself, but I just have to speak my mind. Also, this video is going to be very podcast-ish in style. There's going to be no visual stuff, just listen to what I have to say. So the issue is this: we burn out content faster than what the developers can deliver, meaning once we reach an expiry date of a patch or a raid, which is typically 2 to 3 months, we get stale, we grow bitter and we want new stuff to do. We pay money, goddammit, and I want my money's worth. And you're right to say that. We pay £7.69 a month for around $10 for you Americans. We want $10 worth of enjoyment. So the developers need to create content which will satisfy a vast majority of the player base until they can release the next patch or the next raid, which sadly the 3.0 expansion has failed to do, horribly. Currently the most obvious issue are the raids. We essentially have two sets of raids, Alexander Normal and Alexander Savage. Normal intended for the more casual audience who wants to know about the story, which then turned out to be a lame and diabolical excuse for the existence of this raid. The story is alright, but the fact that the 2.0 story was about a gigantic elder primal dragon which was trapped inside the moon for a millennia only to be unleashed and absolutely destroy the world, which then causes a 7th calamity, and now we're going back in to prevent the rebirth of said dragon. Compare that to the half-assed story of Alexander. We need to stop Alexander because we need to stop it, so we help a treasure hunter. What? It's just there. Alexander doesn't feel threatening. It doesn't come anywhere close to the excitement and the danger that we had going through the Coil of Bahamut. The Binding Coil of Bahamut had relevance to the main enemy, the Garleans, a legendary Archmage who returned to be the Thrall of Bahamut, the reawakening of the White Raven. We had encounters which were reminiscent of previous Final Fantasy bosses, and a beautiful soundtrack which captivated the heart of every raider. All of that was lost in Alexander. And secondly, the difficulty of Alexander Normal was tuned too low. The greatest thing about the Coil of Bahamut, even with all of the nerfs and the echo buffs which were in place to aid newer players get through the content, was that every single player in the game had the potential to clear the biggest baddie of that raid tier. Everyone could raid in the coils and feel like they were responsible for the second downfall of Bahamut, as it was challenging. It made players feel like they overcame a massive hurdle and became a hero, that they actually saved the world, unless they bought a clear. Regardless, Alexander Normal's difficulty is too low, even for your average casual gamer. It doesn't have the meaningful impact the developers intended it to have, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest disappointment of Alexander Normal. And then we have Savage, for your typical raiders who want a sense of accomplishment, if you have 20 hours a week to spare, that is. Alexander Savage 1 and 2, pretty challenging at release due to gear checks, but then became a snooze fest after a few weeks of gear drops, but they still are slightly difficult if a player messes up one of the alarms or the Godwalker guy forgets to pull a bomb. But we know every Tuesday we'll be rewarded for the 30 minutes to 2 hours we spent in those two raids. And then these poor souls are crushed, chewed and spat out once we see our favourite Pepsi mascot, Living Liquid. This impenetrable wall is the biggest reason why a lot of people are currently quitting the game. It's the reason why a vast majority of raid groups are disbanding and why the game feels like absolute shit. The difficulty spike between A2S and A3S is just way too high. In fact, A3S's difficulty is tuned so high, A4S feels a lot more manageable and better tuned than that blue twerking blob, even if 75% of your camera is blocked off by a mechanical spider, and this doesn't count for the Nisi cheese strat either. Living Liquid is a fight which less than 1% of the player base can clear, for no apparent reason. And the only thing I can think of is that Square Enix just got lazy with their decision making and just needed a way to extend the longevity of 4 bosses over the period of 6 months. Yeah, hardcore elitists with EPs the size of the Empire State Building can gloat and say, "Ho ho ho, I cleared A3S and you can't." But what happened to the mid-core raider who now has a job or has university and is extremely skilled? This poor soul, who may even be more skilled than the majority of the no-lifers, has been punished because he cannot put in enough hours in the game to clear the 3rd raid boss? What? So this poor guy will be spending 2 to 3 evenings a week wasting his time, getting no progression made and contemplating smashing his monitor because someone fucked up digititis for the 10th pull in a row. There's too many cheesy one-shot mechanics in this tier rating. Oh, someone fucked up digititis? Wipe. One of the tanks never pulled out a hand fast enough? Wipe. Someone never stunned a piston? Wipe. You never picked up a tether? Wipe. You forgot to dispel throttle? Wipe. You clipped Embolus even though you're on the other side of the arena? Wipe. You see what I mean? We had these badly thought out mechanics in turn 7 and is the primary reason why I originally quit in the first place, and here I am repeating history. These mechanics aren't fun, they don't make a raid encounter challenging, there's no complexity to this type of encounter, it's punishing. One person messing up ruins everything for 7 other players. How is that justifiable? It isn't. If you wanted to have mechanics like that in the game, fine, that's your choice as a developer, but at least ensure that your game has content which is challenging without punishing mechanics to satisfy players who want a challenge, aka your mid-core raider. Why don't you have more than 4 raid bosses every 6 months? Why don't they extend it to 5 or 6 bosses per raid cycle so the difficulty increase can flow a bit better and be easier to swallow? My own raid group has gone through 1 tank, 3 healers, 2 casters and 3 bards. We did 2 weeks of 6x6 raiding and picked up 120 hours under our belt just to get 1 stupid boss down. I never even put close to half that many hours into Metal Gear Solid 5, and this was a game that I had anticipated for 4 bloody years. And guess what I felt after I cleared A3S? Enjoyment? I logged off straight away and went to bed. I wasn't happy that I cleared it, I felt like trash because I spent so much effort into 1 single boss, only to realise, wait, I have another one after this. Effort. That's the key word. When people play a game, they want to be rewarded for the effort that they put in. This reward could be unlocking a new quest chain, a new piece of equipment to look cool, interesting lore, cool cutscenes. People want to have experiences that they can remember and then tell everyone how amazing their experience was and how it will never be the same, or back in my day we had to do this, and feel entitled for no apparent reason. We want visual, physical or emotional responses when we play video games, and whenever we put something into the game, we want equal or greater amounts of satisfying experiences back. So me putting 120 hours into a single encounter, I want at least 120 hours worth of a reward. I never got that. And this is exactly like a statement I mentioned earlier. We pay money, goddammit, and I want my money's worth. There's many other things that also fit into the raiding ecosystem which were removed in 3.0. Crafting is useless beyond cosmetics and raiding consumables. If you don't have the gear to get gear to craft these raiding essentials, you can't do anything. You have no money to raid in the first place, as there's no steady income for raiders who don't like crafting, which was fulfilled in 2.0 by the likes of spirit bonding, which was annihilated. Materia was an amazing source of income for the average Joe, and people who were amateur or part-time crafters could make use of low-level resources to spirit bond for players to throw into crafted gear, which min-maxers like myself would throw millions into to get their perfect best in slot. The materia and crafting system they had back in 2.0 was such an amazing ecosystem which really kept the relationship between crafting, raiding and monetary income stable, something I suspect Square Enix never even noted. Selling primal clears were also ruined, as they never added any incentive for anyone to do Ravana or Bismarck beyond the first month of the expansion's release. Not only that, people are now extremely bored of the tombstone system. We're bored of grinding the same 2 dungeons every week to get our gear. They're definitely not helping this situation, and the vast majority of players, including myself, aren't even doing their daily experts anymore, as it's just utterly boring. The 2.0 binding coil raids are also outdated and boring. We've done them so many times, none of us are interested in repeating the same content even though it's there. And this fits into the theme park nature of Final Fantasy XIV, which is another big can of worms to open. In short, Square Enix never addressed content for the ever-growing and very popular mid-core raider who has 2 to 3 evenings a week to spare. Players who are skilled and want difficult challenges that they can actually be rewarded for. Experiences which will make these players addicted to the game and have memories which they will carry with them for years to come. An entire audience forgotten about, with nothing to do but to repeat the same impossible challenge every week with no gain. These aren't your hardcore masochists like myself, nor are these the players who log on once or twice a week. The mid-core raider is arguably the largest audience of Final Fantasy XIV, and with so many people quitting due to the insane masochistic difficulty of Alexander Savage, it's evidence that this is a severe issue that needs to be addressed. There are many other ways that this can be fixed, and maybe I'll make a video on what I feel needs to be done to correct this horrible situation we're all in right now. Also, if people are interested, I guess I could do some short videos on the differences between theme parks and sandbox MMOs, the 4 types of gamer, and other facts that ties into this entire messy situation. There's also 3.1 around the corner, and I have very controversial views about this patch, but I'll keep them to myself until we've actually gotten some more information about it in the next live letter, which should be on the 25th of October. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching or listening to this extremely lengthy rant of mine. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.